Hello students, good morning. In today's session, I am going to deal with the two ways of conveying a message, that is direct and indirect. I am also going to tell you the simple steps that are to be followed in converting a direct to indirect. Message can be conveyed in two ways. One is direct and the other is indirect. The conveying is said to be direct if the message is said in actual words of the speaker. For example, Kamalu said, "I am busy." In this sentence, the message, "I am busy," is quoted as said by Kamalu, the speaker. There is no modification. So it is said in direct speech. The conveying is indirect if the message is conveyed in our own words. For example, Kamalu said that she was busy. In this sentence, the message conveyed by Kamalu, "I am busy," is modified by using our own words as she was busy. Let me put it the other way also. When someone questions, "What did he say?" or "What did she say?" if you repeat the word spoken, then it is direct speech. If you report the word spoken, then it is indirect speech. Are you clear? The conversion of direct to indirect has some steps that are to be followed. To start with, let us have a glimpse of these steps. So the first step is identify. The second step is change the reporting verb. And the third is replace the speech mark with that. Change the pronoun is the fourth step. And the fifth step is change the tense. The last but not the least is change the words that specify time and place. Now, let us see the steps in detail. The first step, identify. What are we to identify? To transform a sentence from direct to indirect, the following aspects are to be identified in the sentence. Subject, object, reporting verb, first person, second person, and third person, the tense of the verb in the sentence, and the time and place specifying words. For instance, look at the sentence given here. Sam said to Ram, "I will join you and John tomorrow." So here in this sentence, Sam is a subject. Said to is a reporting verb. Ram is the object. I is the first person. Will join is in future tense. You is the second person. And John is the third person. And tomorrow is the time denoting word. Once the above said aspects are identified, we have to start changing. So let's start with the reporting part first. In the reporting part, the only change you make is with the reporting verb. So how are we to change the reporting verb? Regarding the reporting verb, the following changes are to be made. If the reporting verb is said to, it becomes told. If it is said, there should be no change in the reporting verb. Said should be written as said itself. Say to becomes tell and says to becomes tells. Step 3. You have to replace the speech mark with the conjunction that. With the replace of the speech mark starts the trickiest part of the sentence. But once you master the changes by practice, then the transformation of direct to indirect speech is a piece of cake. The first change is the change of pronoun. How to change the pronoun? The change of pronoun becomes easy once when the first person, second person, third person, subject and the object in the sentence is identified. Now let's see the same sentence. Sam said to Ram, "I will join you and John tomorrow." In this sentence, Sam, who is the speaker, is the subject. Ram, to whom Sam conveys the message, is the object. I refers to Sam, who is the subject, and he is also the first person. You refers to Ram, who is the object, and he is the second person. John, who is not physically present in the scene, is the third person. Having identified, now let us change the pronoun. Before that, to be free from error and confusion during the changing process, let's familiarize ourselves with the pronouns in the direct speech and the change that has to be done to that pronoun in the indirect speech. This slide with the table of pronouns will help you regarding this. This slide clearly shows the change that a particular pronoun has to undergo when the speech becomes an indirect one. So the pronoun me in the direct speech has to be changed to him or her. Us becomes them. You, if it is in the objective sense, then it has to be changed to him, her or them. Mine has to change to his or hers. Ours should be changed to theirs. Yours should change to his, hers or theirs. Similarly, I in the direct speech should be changed to he or she based on the gender. We changes to they. You, if it is subjective, then it should be replaced by he, she or they. My changes to his or her. Her becomes their. Your becomes his, her or their. Regarding the pronoun you, let me make things clear to you. See the example 1. Harish said to Kumar, "You are my friend," is a direct speech. When you convert it into an indirect speech, it becomes Harish told Kumar that he was his friend. Here, you in the direct speech is used in a subjective sense, and hence it is changed to he. Now see the example 2. Harish said to Kumar, "I trust you." If you converted it into an indirect speech, it becomes Harish told Kumar that he trusted him. The same you changes to him. Here, you is used in an objective sense and it is changed to him. So, are you clear with you in a subjective form and you in an objective form? Now, let's see the rules that are to be followed while changing the pronoun. The first person pronouns in the direct speech changes according to the subject of the reporting verb in the indirect speech. For example, Seenu said, "I am busy." Seenu said that he was busy is the indirect speech of that sentence. Now, Seenu is a subject and I being the first person pronoun considers Seenu. So, it is converted to he. Now, you take the second person pronouns in the direct speech, it changes according to the object of the reporting verb. For example, Seenu said to Uma, "You have come with me." So, when you convert it, it goes like this. Seenu told Uma that she had to go with him. Here, Uma is the object and you is a second person pronoun. So, the second person pronoun should change according to the object of the reporting verb. Since the object is Uma, so it has taken she. And regarding the third person pronouns in the direct speech, it will not change in the indirect speech. It will always remain the same. See, for example, Seenu said, "She is intelligent." So, when you convert the sentence to indirect, it becomes Seenu said that she was intelligent. So, she, the third person pronoun, remains the same. It doesn't change. Now, knowing all these things, shall we see how the pronouns change in the given sentence? I have also given the table at the top so that it will be easy for you to undergo the change. The sentence is, Sam said to Ram, I will join you and John tomorrow. So now Sam told Ram that I becomes E, would join, you becomes in, and John this next day. So now are you clear with the change of pronouns in the sentence? Now let's go to the next change, the change in tense. Regarding the change in tense, you have to be a bit careful. So this table will help you regarding that. The present simple tense becomes past simple. The present continuous becomes past continuous. The past simple has to be changed to past perfect. And the past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. The present perfect has to be changed to past perfect. Present perfect continuous needs to be changed to past perfect continuous. Future simple has to be changed to conditional. So if the future simple is will, it becomes conditional would. There are at times no changes in the tense. So let's see where there are no tense changes in the indirect speech. So the first thing is, if the reported verbs are true at the time of reporting, then there will be no tense changes. For example, Seema said, I have cut my finger, so I cannot complete this picture this week. So when you convert the same to indirect, it becomes, Seema said that she has cut her finger and so she cannot complete the picture this week. So here the tense remains the same because the words are true at the time of reporting. And the next is, if the reporting verb is in present tense, even then there is no tense changes. For example, Ravi says, I am sick. If you convert the sentence to indirect speech, then it goes like this. Ravi tells that he is sick. The third thing, the reported words, when it expresses a general truth, then there will be no change in the tense. For example, the teacher said, the earth moves around the sun. In that case, if you convert the sentence into indirect speech, this is how we have to write the sentence. The teacher said that the earth moves around the sun. Here the word moves remains the same. The tense does not change because it is a general truth. The reported words refer to an unreal situation. In that case, the tense will not change. For example, he said, if I were rich, I would build a mansion. In that case, if you convert the sentence into indirect, the sentence goes like this. He said that if he were rich, he would build a mansion. So it is only in these cases the tense does not change, or else the tense has to be changed, and the table which I have shown you regarding that will help you. Now let's go to the next change. The change of demonstratives and adverb of place and time and models. So the table given here will help you regarding that. And regarding the adverb of place and time, let us see the words given here. Today in direct speech becomes that day. Now has to be changed to then or at the moment. Yesterday becomes the day before. Days ago becomes day before. Last week has to be written as the week before. Next year changes to the following year. Tomorrow is replaced by the next day or the following day. Year becomes there, this becomes that, these become those. Ago has to be changed to previously or before. Tonight has to be replaced with that night. And regarding the models, will becomes would, can becomes could. Must is written in the same way, whereas have to becomes had to. May or might is to be changed to might. Should remains should, and ought to remains ought to. Having seen all the rules, let us try our hand to the sentence which was traveling with us for the session. So the sentence is, Sam said to Ram, I will join you and John tomorrow. So the conversion is, Sam told Ram that he would join him and John the next day. So will join becomes would join. The sentence which was transformed is a declarative one. It's the same with other types of sentences also, except for few changes. Shall we go to that part also? If the sentence given to you is an interrogative sentence, then what is to be done? Usually when we convert a direct to an indirect speech, we do it with a conjunction. Here in this case, no conjunction is used. If a sentence in direct speech begins with a question, I mean the question word, the question word itself acts as a joining clause. For example, the boy said, where do you live? So when you transform the sentence into indirect, it becomes, the boy inquired where I lived. So the question word where itself acts as a joining clause. The next one. If a direct speech sentence begins with an auxiliary verb or an helping verb, the joining clause should be if or whether. For example, she said, will you come for the party? So here there is no question word as what, where or when. So it is with an auxiliary verb. In that case, the joining clause should be whether or if. So when you transform this sentence to indirect, it becomes, she asked whether we could come for the party. Now, if the sentence is imperative, you know what imperative sentence is? It can be either a request or a command. So in that case, the imperative mood in the direct speech changes into the infinitive in the indirect speech. For example, she said to her, please complete it. Here in this sentence, since it is a request, the reporting verb can be written as requested. She requested her, remove the word please and it takes the infinitive there, to complete it. So the sentence is, she requested her to complete it. The next sentence, Hamid said to Ramit, sit down. Now since it is an order, the reporting word can be ordered. Hamid ordered Ramit to sit down. So every time an imperative mood in the direct speech changes into the infinitive in the indirect speech. Now coming to the exclamatory sentence. In exclamatory sentences, the words that express grief, sorrow, happiness or applaud, that's what interjections, are removed and the sentence is changed to an assertive sentence. For example, she said, alas, I am undone. So here alas is an interjection. So it has to be removed and you have to write it in an assertive form. So the sentence goes like this. She exclaimed sadly that she was undone. So I have also given you a table where are shown the first person, second person and the third person. So this will also help you in preventing you from any confusion or anything. So these are the basic things which you should know regarding the transformation of a sentence from a direct to an indirect speech. So children, I think that you would have all understood and you would have got a clear idea of what are the steps that are to be followed when you convert a direct speech sentence to an indirect speech sentence. So now shall we go to the next grammatical category for the day? Phrasal verbs are everywhere in the English language. They pop up here and there in our day-to-day conversation. They are short little 2 or 3 word phrases that can mar your ability to understand when you read or listen if not familiar with them. Just like any other aspect of language, it also needs to be given attention. For example, the word pick is just a normal verb. It is not a phrasal verb. But when you add the word up, it has become a phrasal verb. and it means different things. Pick up means improve. Pick up has also another meaning, collect someone. It also denotes collect something. The other meaning for pick up is also acquire knowledge. The addition of the tiny word up has made such a difference to one particular word. So that is phrasal verbs. What is a phrasal verb? A phrase that consists of a verb with a preposition or adverb or both, the meaning of which is different from the meaning of its separate parts, is called a phrasal verb. Look at the highlighted words in the following. I will get the ladder and a stick and pull down those crab apples. So in this sentence, pull down is a phrasal verb. The next sentence, a picture fell off from the wall onto his head. The word fell off is a phrasal verb. So the words in the color mentioned in the sentence are called as phrasal verbs. Here are few phrasal verbs with the meanings. Stay away is a phrasal verb. It means do not approach someone or something. When you use it in a sentence, you can say this way, stay away from me. The next word is hold up. To hold something in a high position so that it can be seen. Hold up the paper, let me see what is written in it. This is how you can use the phrasal verb hold up in your sentence. Pick up. Pick up means to lift someone or something from a surface. So I picked up the child as I returned home. So you have picked a child as you are coming to home from your office. The next word is make off. Make off means to leave quickly, especially after doing something wrong. The children made off as soon as they broke the glass. So they didn't want to get scolding from anyone. So they just left the place quickly. Put up with means to accept someone or something unpleasant in a patient way. Teachers always put up with the pranks of the students. Won't we do? Won't we accept you, though you do all sort of pranks with us? We put up with whatever you do. Break in is the next phrasal verb. Break in means to enter a building by force, especially in order to steal things. A robber usually breaks in someone's house to steal the things. Set aside means to keep or save something from a larger amount or supply in order to use it later. Set aside the sweets, we can have it tomorrow for the party. The next phrasal verb is let off. To allow someone not to do something that they were expecting to have to do. Next one is pull through. To manage, to stay alive after you have been very ill or very badly injured. The boy somehow pulled through when he met with an accident. The last one is given. To stop competing or arguing and accept that you cannot win. When you fight with your friend and when you're given, it means that you have stopped arguing with him. You say, okay, I agree with whatever you say. So there you are given. So now I've given you the meanings of some phrasal verbs, and these phrasal verbs are picked from your textbook. Knowing the meaning of it, children, it is on page 84. I want you to use the right phrasal verbs in the blanks. So let me check how far you have understood what the phrasal verb is. Now I'll give you some tips to master the phrasal verbs. We don't have any rules for phrasal verbs, but there are certain tips. Using that, you can master the phrasal verbs. The first tip, you should be a voracious reader. The more you read, the more you come across phrasal verbs. So whenever you come across a phrasal verb, write it down. Look up for the meanings of the phrasal verbs in the dictionary. Once you know the meaning, practice making your own sentences. Then test yourself regularly by trying to use it in the right context as you converse with someone. Only there it becomes active, or else it will remain passive in your mind and slowly it will fade away. So, whenever you learn something new, try to use it, be it a new word or a new phrasal verb, or else it is passive and in a time period it will fade away. So, learning phrasal verbs will give you more confidence when you speak the language. It will make you feel on par with a native speaker. So, children, don't ignore phrasal verbs. Whenever is listening to you, should look into a dictionary to understand what you are trying to talk. Okay, children, thank you.